You might ask yourself, what are some actual things I can do that keep me from going broke? My name's Phil, and today I just want to share with you a couple simple things, kind of more practical things that have kept me from going broke over the years. Some of the things, just little things that I do that are a little different, that save me some money here and there. And this is something that I've built into my life and my lifestyle, and things that over time I started to enjoy some of them. Some of them I don't enjoy so much anymore. But I just want to share a couple of those little things with you, especially if you're looking for a place to save some money or to make a little change, things that you can control. I'm a firm believer in examining the things that you can control and ignoring the things that, well, not completely ignoring, but disregarding the things that you can't control. And so here's a couple practical things that I do in my life that kind of help to give me a little bit of leverage, create a little bit of margin here or there. One of the first things I do is I buy things that are going to last me a long time. When I make a purchase, especially larger purchases, I like to do a lot of research into that item before I purchase it. I like to compare it to other products in the market, read the reviews, buy it from a reputable vendor. You know, that's why I shop at Costco a lot. They stand behind a lot of things. So when I make a purchase, I'm not just going out and throwing down the money and getting it because I want it. I've usually thought about it for a long time, and in some cases a very long time. And in addition to that, I'm buying something that I know will last me a long time. You know, and I think I've heard it before, and I'm not 100% sure on the statistic, but I believe it's the Toyota Camry is the #1 vehicle that millionaires drive. Why is that? If you're like me, you're a car person, you like to drive, or you like the car that you have, there's no shame in getting the car you want or your dream car. But you should also keep in mind that whatever car you get, you need to be able to maintain it and keep it for a long time. So you got to think about the maintenance costs. Purchasing things that are going to last a long time, that you know from the outset, from the purchasing point, that you're not just getting them as disposable. So the concept is, don't buy a car that's going to last you 2 or 3 years. Buy a car that you know should last you 10, 15 years. Now you may have to put some maintenance into upkeep, but that gets to my next point, which is, if you buy something, maintain it, properly maintain it. I think the car's a really good example here, because I've learned to enjoy not only the research, not so much the car buying experience, but the research behind it, and thinking about what I want out of a car, and having that kind of as a future goal, setting that as a goal and staying focused on it. But I've started to enjoy that. I've learned to enjoy that. But then I've also started to enjoy the maintenance of it. Now, growing up, I was an automotive detailer with my dad in a garage somewhere in Western Pennsylvania. And so I learned early on how to detail cars as a teenager. And that stuck with me all my life. I enjoy doing that. I've started teaching my kids how to do that. It's always been kind of a side job I could fall back on. So that's kind of sewn into my DNA at this point. But as far as mechanical work, that's something I've learned, and I've started to learn to enjoy that. Now, the older I've gotten, the more I've decided I don't want to do all of that work myself, and I'm willing to outsource some of it. For example, I won't do air conditioning work on a car. Forget about that. That's like highly technical. You need scales and certain gauges and everything. Sometimes it's better to pay a professional to do it, but the bottom line is the maintenance of a vehicle and the upkeep of anything that you buy is important. Don't just let things fall apart. My grandfather was famous for keeping things like forever. He would fix them. It's a concept that's kind of being lost. Not only would he keep them, he would fix them himself. But the maintenance of it was part of the deal, because the better you maintain something, the less you've got to fix it, the less you've got to repair it. It only makes sense. So you'll find that people who want to keep things longer will maintain them because they don't want to have to fix them. They'll keep them in good shape. And that's something that I've taken pride in ownership. I like keeping things longer. I like maintaining what I have to look nice and presentable. Also, if you have a vehicle and you get to know that car, you start to develop kind of a relationship with the car. Not like a human-to-human relationship, but like you understand when things aren't right with it, when it just doesn't sound right, something's not right with it, or the same problem reoccurs. Or, for example, over the years, I've found the right items that go with my car. If my car got totaled today, it would be very disappointing. because I would have to start from scratch and I'd have to go through all the things that I've done. Like I've ceramic coated my car. I have the right mud flaps on it. I have the right floor mats in it. I have different little gizmos and gadgets that I've added over the year. I have a dash cam. You know, you got to do all that over again. And I like putting the money into the car that I have. I don't want to have to get another one. Sometimes buying the new shiny object makes you feel good for a moment, and a couple hours later you're like, why did I do that? Well, that's because you're trying to get a little bit of a dopamine hit. You want to feel like you've done something. And I get it. I mean, sometimes you just have to get something new because the old thing did wear out. But buying something that lasts and then maintaining it and then repairing it when it's starting to have issues, not waiting for it to kind of catastrophically fail, those are all things that have kept me from going broke, because I'm not constantly spending and entering this cycle of buy, forget, repeat, buy, forget, repeat. I'm not seeking a dopamine hit in those areas. You can get that same little hit that you're looking for in other areas, like accomplishing something. Someone told me years ago that if you create a checklist and every time you check something off that checklist, did you know you get a dopamine release, a dopamine hit? I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that. Tell me in the comments if somebody knows that study. I'd love to know what it is. I haven't really looked for it, but someone told me that years ago. If you make a task list and then you check those items off the list, every time you do, you get a little bit of a spike of dopamine, a little hit. So it's not always just about buying something new. Sometimes it's about maintaining what you have. And you can get that same effect by just maintaining what you've got. Another thing that I've found that really helps me out a lot, keeps me from going broke, is I've learned to do a lot of things myself. Things that a lot of people outsource. For example, I work on my own car, and we're staying with the car theme here, I guess, but I do a lot of my own work on my own car. I do oil changes, transmission fluid, radiator fluid. I've done spark plugs. I've done timing belts. I'm not a mechanic, but I've learned how to do it over the years because I decided that rather than pay somebody and not know how it works, I would learn how it works, learn how that device works, and address it and fix it myself. Now, sometimes there are diagnostic issues where you need somebody to step in, but who's to say you can't have somebody diagnose it and then you do the repair? Just because somebody has that skill of diagnosis, pay them for that skill. But if you want to save a little bit of money, you can do some things yourself. And I'm not telling everybody they need to get on their hands and knees and get under their car and do an oil change, but there are other things you can think about that. You know, one of my favorite hobbies is watching movies. You know, every time you go to the movies, it seems like the price is going up, whether it's the movie itself or the popcorn or the type of movie. Maybe it's a 3D movie or it's IMAX. That's all great, and the experience with that is awesome. But at some point, I decided I wanted to be able to watch a movie in my own home on a big screen. So I decided years ago that I was gonna buy a projector and a screen, and I was gonna build my own little movie theater in a room in my house. And it is one of my favorite things. Now, honestly, my family, they love it and they hate it. They love the idea that we can go in there at any time, but they have to drag me kicking and screaming to the movie theater because I don't want to go there. And it's not because I don't enjoy the experience, but it is because I don't enjoy the experience. I don't want to overspend on popcorn, and you don't have to buy popcorn, but it's part of the deal. You know, you go to the movies, you watch a movie, you want popcorn. I get it. I hate going to the movies and then somebody behind me's talking. I can't tell you how many times I've gone there and the power goes out in the movie theater. It always seems to happen to me. I don't understand why. I got tired of that. Now, don't get me wrong. When there's a movie I really, really want to watch on the big screen, I think one of the last ones I went to see was Oppenheimer. I really wanted to see it on the big screen because it's an atomic experience. You know, you want the big full sound and everything. But for the average run-of-the-mill movie, I wait until I can watch it on Netflix or Amazon or purchase it or download it. And one of the things I decided I wanted to do myself was have my own movie theater so I don't have to spend, you know, $50 every time I want to see a movie. I even bought a little popcorn machine. And I like my popcorn now better than the movie theater. If you're interested in making your own popcorn at home, I can tell you the secret recipe, by the way. Just tell me in the comments and I'll share it with you. It's pretty easy. Things like that I decided I wanted to do for myself. One of them that I kind of hate to do, but I do it myself, is our plumbing in our house. Whenever there's a little issue, I've learned kind of the skills, and a good friend once told me, you have not done a plumbing project on your house until you've been to Home Depot 4 times in the same day. And I bet that's true. If you're out there and you've done any kind of plumbing work on your house, you know it's true. You get the wrong fitting, then you got to go back and you get another one, then you realize you need a tool. It's work. And I don't want to, there's always going to be a job for plumbers out there. Not everybody wants to do their own plumbing work. If you don't do it right, you end up with leaks, you end up with flooding, you end up with an expensive bill. So I'm not saying that everybody out there needs to be a plumber, but those are things that I've learned to do for myself, and over time, it saved me a huge amount of money. What are the areas in your life that you could do yourself that could save you some money? You know, maybe you're good at something. Maybe you're good at cutting hair. My grandfather was a barber. He was also a locomotive engineer, but he was a barber. So growing up, we had somebody that cut our hair in the family, and it wasn't always the best. I loved my grandfather, but at some point I started paying for a professional to do it. But you know what? It saved us money. And growing up in a household where parents lived in separate homes, we needed every penny we could get, and that was one way we saved money. I'm sure there's things that you could look at throughout your life that you can do yourself and save a little bit extra on it. It could be as simple as not eating out every day and just making your lunch for yourself. That's healthier as well. And if you enjoy eating out, that's great. If you have the money for it and it's not killing your budget, that's not a problem. But maybe you're like, I really don't care about lunch that much. I can do that myself. I can make my own lunch. So if that's you and you know of something that you can do yourself instead of outsourcing it, then save the money. You might even be able to develop a little bit of a skill there and something you'll keep with you for the rest of your life. That gets me to my next point, which is discipline. It's something that I cannot superimpose through the camera to you. You have got to develop the exercise of good finances for yourself. That's something that's kept me on track. That's something that's kept me from going broke. The discipline. And in another video, which I'll link up here, the fundamental principle of why I've stayed on track financially and made finances a priority isn't because I love money or I like the idea of tracking money or that I'm a control freak. It is that I have a vision and a goal for the future, things that I love. And for me, those things are my family, my faith, and partially what I do, my job, and also being able to speak to you. This is a goal and a dream I've had for a long time, is to be able to help people. Having good finances is a tool and a mechanism to get me there, but there is something along with that, and it's a muscle that you develop, just like going to the gym, and that's discipline. You have to be disciplined enough to stick to that plan you have. You can have all the great plans in the world, you can have all the great ideas in the world, but if you don't develop discipline, and if you don't have that, you don't get it magically. It's not something that gets manifested. You have to start to develop it with little simple habits where you see hard work that you put in and then the goal gets met and you see success, one little success at a time. And that's why I talked about in another video, if you have no savings at all, don't think about buying a house. Think about saving $25 from your next paycheck. Then automate that where it comes out of your paycheck automatically. Then build that up over time. Then as you start to see successes and your brain recognizes the goal has been met and how you feel about that and where you look for new areas of improvement, you can build on that. Then that $25, before long it's $250 a month. Then before long, savings is a priority. You're seeing traction. Now you're seeing your goals met and you're starting to really understand, like, I think this could work. That's how discipline is built. It doesn't get built magically. Some people maybe have it naturally. I'm not a naturally disciplined person. Any discipline I have is something that's learned and taught and developed, and it's grown like muscles in a gym. And then you get into a success cycle where you see those results and you know how to make that result happen, and then you build on that. And that's how you grow. So discipline, it's a key. Finally, I think one of the biggest things, and I talked about this in another video recently, was awareness. Something that I've had early on is being aware of my financial situation. And when I say awareness, what I'm talking about is spending. What I'm talking about is how much money I actually have in my account. I bet if you surveyed people right now, you'd find a lot of people don't actually even know how much money is in their bank account. They might not even know what they get paid. They may not know what their net worth is. All those things are things you should be aware of. I'm not saying you have to be hyper-focused on them. I'm not saying money has to be the focus of your life, but you do need to be aware of what's going on. And I think awareness has always been one of the differentiators for me from a young age financially until now to be successful was I understand where I stand with things. I use the tools at my disposal to do them, and that creates the ability for me to jump on good opportunities when they come and avoid the distractions when I know it's going to take me off track. It all starts with a core of awareness. And one more thing that I think has really helped me, and it goes along with awareness, and that is having real measurable goals. Not just the big visions and dreams out there, which I think you should have those big high-level goals and visions, but I'm talking about little, small, measurable goals. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie What About Bob? It's from the early 90s. It's got Bill Murray and Richard Dreyfuss. I love that movie. And in the movie, they kind of jokingly talk about baby steps, you know, and the patient, Bob, and the psychiatrist, Dr. Marvin, he's come out with this idea, which is called baby steps. And Bob decides to take it literally, and he's physically baby stepping everywhere, you know, little tiny steps. But what he forgets is that they're small, reasonable goals. I love that movie. I think it came out when I was in 4th grade. That's always stuck with me, the baby steps. But you do need to have small, measurable goals and take some baby steps. I know it sounds funny to look at a movie and think of a real life application for something like that, but don't just make goals, make measurable goals, things that you can actually see that you can accomplish. So if it's saving $25 a month, you know that that's a realistic, measurable goal. If it's saving $1 million, that's a very challenging, daunting task that you can easily get on day 2 of and say, forget about this, it's impossible. But if you have the goal of how much you need to save per month to realistically reach that high-level goal, the small, measurable, realistic goal will be a game changer. That phrase, measurable goal, was in another video that I saw for somebody doing calisthenics recently. And I really appreciated the way that they articulated it, that they had measurable goals as a goal, not just goals. Things that you can actually see the progress on. So maybe you can't do a push-up today, then a measurable goal would be developing enough strength to do 1 push-up, and then maybe your goal becomes 10 push-ups, and then you do 10 push-ups. And you continue on like that, and you continue to, you do need to kind of move the bar. Every time you make that goal, okay, set a new goal. And in relation to finances, it's no difference. Health and wealth are fundamentally connected because they all kind of root from the same success. So a lot of the financial success I've seen in my life is because I looked at how to achieve fitness goals. And admittedly, I'm probably further behind on the fitness goals, but I do have a goal of being healthy. The goal of being healthy is good, but that goal is a very big thing. You need a small measurable goal. I'm going to stop eating 5 eggs a day. I'm going to start eating 1 egg and 3 egg whites. That's a measurable goal. And I've accomplished that. My cholesterol's dropped. Not saying I'm a health expert, but that's what the doctor told me to do. So sometimes you got to trust them. Measurable goals. It's different than just having a goal. It's the difference between saying I want to have good health and saying I'm going to go to the gym today. I'm going to learn how to do a pull-up today, or I'm going to learn how to do 1 pull-up, and then I'm going to learn how to do 10. Then I'm going to learn how to do a handstand. So you need to have a measurable goal. Don't just have this pie in the sky idea. I do believe in goals and visions and dreams and big high level things, and I talked about that in the last video. But I'm also saying that in order to achieve those big things, you have to have small measurable goals. So I hope that helped you today, and if it did, I would appreciate if you would subscribe for more videos like this, and if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up in there. Also, talk to me in the comments. If there's something that you're looking for in your financial mindset, or an idea that you need, or you hear about an experience and you want to know more, or you want to know how to make really good popcorn at home, tell me in the comments below, and I would love to share that with you. My name's Phil, and I'll see you in the next one.